And welcome to the second match where we actually have the Widot versus Initiative. And in the Initiative team, we've got Nastati, Nereos, Navy Brutix, Vigilant, Crucifier, and Crucifier Navy Issue.
Whereas Widot seem to be after my heart, bringing the most crazy comp we've seen as of so far, with a Barghest, Rattlesnake, Scorpion, and Cerberus, leaving themselves 3 men undermanned.
Both of the teams have come in relatively close to the central kind of like beacon, with Widot, anything up to about like 50 kilometers off, and we've got Initiative at about like 20 or so. Match is like underway. We're going to see where they actually start to apply DPS and whether or not that Scorpion, more importantly, can actually get any jams off.
Okay, and we're seeing the Barghest here be missile guidance disrupted by the Crucifier, so that's going to be an interesting part of this match as well. Can that Cerberus get around the Brutixes and start to pick off that evil support so that Barghest can put its full DPS down? Because obviously, if it's not applying, if one of their ships isn't applying, it's going to spell doom for their whole composition.
And surprisingly, it's like, I wasn't expecting this, but it looks like Widot have applied the damage through to the Initiative and Nereos first. So we're going to see how the Nereos actually fares. They're not going particularly fast at the moment, but they seem to be having their tank holding at the moment. Meanwhile, that Scorpion seems to be taking the attention of Initiative.
Yeah, and he is putting jams on the Astarte, a very interesting decision, if not the one I would have chosen.
And that Scorpion is now not into its natural tank. We'll have to see whether or not it's hull tanked.
Oh, the Brutix, the Initiative Brutix is suddenly at half armor here, taking huge chunks from the missiles of Barghest. And as I say that, also the Crucifier Navy Issue is taking damage too, probably from the rapid lights of the Cerberus. And that Scorpion's going to go down first though. That's a huge amount of their points off the grid. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there we go. And I mean, that's obviously jams pretty well much out of the way as well. Although we are still seeing jams on the Initiative team.
Yeah, I don't see any ECM drones right now. I'm going to take a look, but yeah, I think so. Just unbonus jams. Oh no, a couple of EC300s from the.
Yeah, that might be it then. So that would have kind of explain that. Damn those EC300s! I know that they happen to be a favourite of Graf.
Everyone loves getting randomly jammed for a 2% chance. It's the most wonderful feeling in the world.
That's it, but it looks like Initiative have obviously stabilised from that initial assault from Widot, and now they're actually starting to plug away at the Barghest. With Widot not actually having a logic component, then they're going to be reliant on self-reps, and if you look at the top bar, the defence bar, that's obviously a very small amount that they've got of active tank, just that little bit of purple sliver there.
Yeah, and it's not looking good here with the main DPS of that comp, the Barghest, going into hull here, and probably is about to go down. Oh, the Crucifier Navy Issue sniped off the field, but it's not going to be enough as that Barghest just goes down, leaving them with 2 ships left on the field to the 6 of Initiative. It's going to take an absolute miracle to win from here.
Well, yeah, I think that we're looking at boundary violation territory now for Widot to actually be able to pull anything back. I don't think that they've necessarily got enough to actually, really affect Initiative now. So it's going to be very much a case of what do the Initiative go for next. And it looks like that Rattlesnake, because it's going to be a lot easier to hit than the Cerberus.
Yeah. And equally, it looks like Fultz has completely stabilized. He was bleeding for a little bit, taking some armor damage, but now nothing seems to be working. They don't have enough DPS to even touch the amount of reps that the Aneros can put out. And, that Aneros is sitting pretty so far away, untackled and unmolested. It looks like he's been able to smart off all those ECM drones.
Yeah, it's also shields have started to regen as well. So where they were initially like a major focus for the Widot team, and then they Widot tried that little bit of like target switching there, which almost worked. Unfortunately, it looks like it's all gone awry for them, as that rattlesnake is fast approaching armor.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we saw here really why you don't try and bring these undermanned comps. As that rattlesnake goes into half armor, if only they'd been able to tackle down that Aneros, they could have maybe killed it and they could have maybe won the attrition war. But sadly, it was not to be here.
That's it. And we're coming into, I think, the final moments really of the life of the rattlesnake. I'm kind of suspecting that there might be a little bit of hull tank going on here, to be honest with you, because they weren't getting through that particularly quick. But once that rattlesnake goes, which it has, the only ship remaining for the Widot team now is the Cerberus of Mrs. M.
Yeah, going up against all of the rest of the ships on the field here from Initiative, minus the Crucified Navy issue, which went down in the moments.
Yeah, I think it was, it was a bit of an interesting call by like Widot. I think it may have possibly worked for them if the gods had been slightly, smiling on them a little bit more. But I think that Initiative just bought the more kind of like solid team realistically.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is it's an interesting team in and itself. A full Galante rush comp here, with E-War support. That's not something. And the Cerberus has got caught and is just evaporated like a wet towel in a hurricane.
That's it. So we've got good fights called in like local. Initiative have a very kind of like strong win here with only losing a couple of points to the Widot team. And we'll go back over to the studio.